Welcome back to Creative with Addy. It's been quite a bit since I finished this castle off in the last episode. And after this build, I've honestly had zero idea on what to build next. I was looking at all these open areas, all these open spaces I have at my disposal, and I just couldn't think of anything. So, you know what? We're gonna build the next thing with no plan at all. I have no idea what this is gonna be, so let's hop right into it. Now, unfortunately, I was having audio issues, so I did work on something a bit, and here it is. I'm looking to change this area into like a better looking plains biome, if that makes sense. So I used World Edit and I got rid of all this terrain. I tried to flatten it out. It looks kind of messy right now, but obviously it's going to look messy. And so we're just going to roll with the punches. Let's just make something here. I have no idea what. Let's do something. Throughout this whole series, I've only been using World Edit. And there is another terrain editing tool out there. It's called Axiom. At first, I didn't really want to use Axiom because it felt too grand of an idea. It felt like I was cheating. I was cheating the system, and I was just making terrain so easily. But like most people, I've had a change of heart. I actually think it's pretty good, and I'll show you right now. Let's set the stone to grass. Let's get out our paint tool. Set the radius to about 20, and boom, it's all grass. I don't know why I ever wanted to not use this. This is such a good tool. Props to whoever made it. So I'm going to be using the Axiom tool throughout this whole build. And honestly, the plains, they will look better. I mean, it's just a large piece of terrain that maybe I could have a path running through if I can. So let's start by cleaning up this area using the smooth tool. Set the radius to about 20. And then we can set the strength to about 4. And it is a bit laggy at first, but that's to be expected. We're changing a lot of terrain. Once we've cleaned out and smoothed the area, then we can get out a rock tool. I can start sculpting out the hilly range that I want to put in here. So we can start by connecting this up. I think the sphere is a little too big. You can start by having that slowly ripple off. And this isn't all going to be grass, by the way. I can change it to like rocks if it looks better in the moment. So we also have to do something about this river. Obviously, I want to keep the like wavy nature of it. You can see, and this is all natural, by the way. I did not build this river, but it looks amazing. So I want to keep that. But we can extend the river if I change this to flatten down and I click the same Y level as the river. You can see I'm now removing all the grass and all the blocks that are in the way of the river. That is a lot easier than what I was doing over here. So obviously, I like Axiom a lot. I like it a lot. While I did say I didn't have any ideas, I do have an idea for this mountain right here. But that will come at a later episode, so stay tuned for that. For now though, we have a plains biome to create. I do want this path to continue off going this way, and I think I want a bridge right around here to connect up to what I want to do with this mountain. So we are going to have to flatten out this terrain right here, which I've already done, and then we can just paint over it with grass blocks. Okay, I think I've done enough smoothing for now. I'm liking how the area is looking, but I think it does need to be a bit more bumpy. So the little planning we will do is place in red wool where I want the hills to go. And first and foremost, I want them going along the riverbed. Maybe we can have them stop here to allow for maybe like another bridge. And we can have them going along the rest of the riverbed and lining up with this hill. But that's not the only hill I want to have. I also want another, like maybe around here. And then it can connect up with that, or it can leave a little bit of flat area for a path to go. And then we can also add just some regular hills on their own. Maybe one right there. Maybe another right here. I think this could be a cool, like, secluded area. Maybe like a couple of houses, a couple dens. Maybe this could be a little pond. So I think I want to build up the hill here as well as here. And then lastly, we can have a little hill here. So those are all the hills that we're going to be making in this plains biome. So let's hop back into Axiom, get out our grass, get out the rock tool, and let's get to work. While we're adding all the hills, I also want to tidy up the bottom of this riverbed. Like you can see, there's deep caves in the river. I want to clean those up. But first, I'm gonna have to remove all the water. There are some things that I would prefer Axiom for, like just doing a lot of terrain in one sitting. But there are also some things I would prefer using World Edit to do, such as removing the water or doing some little minor details. And painting this pathway, because while Axiom is a great tool, I am still learning to use it, so until I figure out how to do this kind of thing with Axiom, World Edit it is. You can also continue using this block gradient along here to have some continuity between builds. So we could make some taller hills, so that way we can utilize the gradient. So I've dried out the riverbed, and it's currently in the fixing up state. I have drained all the water. I used Axiom a bit, and it's kind of messed up the water here, but that's fine. What I really want to do, though, is get the shape of the water perfect. And while nothing needs to be perfect, this riverbed I do want to look really nice. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna sculpt the shape of the river. Once I've sculpted out the basic shape, I can then use a smoothing tool to make it look nice. After we smoothed out everything, the final step, or not a final step, we still need to put all the water back in, but the final step in making the river look nice is painting sand on it and gravel. So after that's done, we can turn on flood fill, set it back to water, and we can flood this whole place back up. And the river is good as new. I still need to add seagrass, which I can do that quickly. Once we're done with bone mealing the entire bottom of the river, now, like over here, we need to add some mud, because that's what brings this to life. Now that that's all done, we now have a nice looking river to go along with our plains biome that we're working on. I also added a little swamp-like area where a lot of mud would congregate, and now we need to smooth out the rest of these hills, which will take a while to get it looking nice. But I believe in myself, and I hope you can believe in me too. Here we go. Okay, I am really happy with how this place is turning out. I think all the things that are left to do is 1, lay a path around the place, so you actually have somewhere to walk. 2, plant all the grass and trees. Actually, that's step 3. And step 2 is to paint the rest of the hills so they're not all just dirt and grass, and have them look more like this. So by the end of it, all of this will look more similar to this. So hopefully I can get that right. Now for the path, I want this to be like a walk in a park. For instance, you have nice custom trees above you. You have a bunch of picnic tables and lights. So let's just get the path done. I think I want it to run through here. Now the grass will look a little bit weird, but I can fix that in post. So I want this path running through here. I want it to go along this hill, and then it can split off. It can go this way, and it can also go this way across a bridge that's going to be here. So this way will lead to a bit of a town kind of area. You can have like a little circle. It's like a town center. And around here, we can maybe have a little fishing port with a couple of fishing huts. We can also try flooding this area with water, see how that looks. I think it looks nice. We could obviously add some rocks around the area to make it look more natural, but I'm gonna stick with that being there. We can also have a little area here dedicated to picnics and food. Now later on I can add some benches and some lights, maybe a trash can or 2 over here. Alright, pathway completed, and now to paint the land with rocks. Now, if I want all of this area to look similar to this, then I have to use the same block palette. So stone, mossy cobblestone, andesite, and cobblestone are the blocks I'll be using for this. I can just attach those blocks to a brush, and then I can do the same thing I did over here to all of this. And for painting the hills, I do want to be using World Edit for this. Once I've painted the rocks on there, to have a good transition between the grass and the rocks, I do want to paint along the edge of here with another gradient. After we're done with all that, I went around and cleaned up a lot of the terrain to make it look more smooth in areas where it did not look smooth at all. And so what we're left with is a blank canvas to put a bunch of builds in, and then eventually cover it all with trees and grass. Now this area is a little tricky. I think I want it to be maybe an abandoned town, maybe something made of stone or wood, something like that. So let's just get a bunch of wooden blocks out and see if we can just piece these builds together. So this build is starting to look like your first ever Minecraft build right here, but we can change that by adding some stairs along the side here. On top of this building, we can add a much bigger building. That way it looks like these houses were just stacked on top of each other like Legos. And to add just a tiny bit more supports, we can add a frame of slabs around it. And to add to the rusticness, we can add a little balcony. I basically just want this place to look like it could fall apart at any given moment. And after a whole lot of detail, we're left with this. I am really happy with this, and this all started with me just placing a square box on top of a smaller square box, and it turned into this. And now I just need to make a couple more builds similar to this all over the place. And after we've done all that, we now have a humble looking little town slash village right here. These buildings are meant to look weirdly put together. I think I got the shape and the vibe down correctly. We have these I placed signs on a lot of the walls to mimic weak wood, rotten wood. I definitely went in with that aesthetic I wanted to go for, and I think I did it pretty well. So this was the first house, and I kind of mimicked that same design over the other 3 houses. I definitely think this one still looks the best, but I do like the other 3. So now that we're done with the town in the plains, it is now time to cover this whole thing in trees and plant life, so it doesn't look so plain. But you may be asking me, what about this area? Weren't you going to put something here? And the correct answer is yes, I am going to put something here. But it's not going to be in this episode. I'll do that next episode, or I'll maybe do that first and then this. I don't know. But I do know that I want to put a fishing harbor here. I feel like this build is going to be too grand for a small part in this larger project. So I want to dedicate an entire episode to just this section. And hopefully I can get it looking nice. Speaking of looking nice, it's time to cover this whole thing in trees and grass. And that will be the final step in this plains renovation redesign. And with that, we are done with this build and this episode. It has been a journey doing all of this terrain. This used to be just a boring old flat plains, but now I've added a bunch of hills, a pond, I've added a town, and soon we'll add a fishing port slash harbor over here. That has been the plains biome renovated and restored. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.